Most people believe that wealth is created through competition. They are taught that to gain more, others must lose. That resources are limited. That success is a struggle. This belief shapes behavior long before money is ever involved. It creates anxiety, comparison, and constant effort without peace. But this audiobook begins from a different assumption: that wealth is not taken, it is created. And creation follows laws. Not laws imposed by society, markets, or governments, but laws rooted in thought, action, and alignment. Laws that operate quietly, consistently, and without favoritism. When understood and applied, they change not only outcomes, but the way life feels while moving toward them. This is not a motivational message. It is not a shortcut. And it is not about wishing for wealth without effort. It is about understanding the relationship between thought, action, and results and applying that understanding deliberately. Money, in this framework, is not luck. It is not morality. It is not destiny. It is a consequence. And consequences follow causes. To understand wealth, one must first understand the difference between a competitive mindset and a creative mindset. Most people operate competitively without realizing it. They seek advantage, scarcity, timing, and comparison. They measure success against others rather than against possibility. The creative mindset operates differently. It assumes abundance. It assumes that ideas precede outcomes. It assumes that opportunity expands when aligned action is taken. This distinction is not philosophical, it is practical. When people believe they must compete, they rush, they imitate. They fear being late. They fear being replaced. Their actions become reactive rather than intentional. When people believe they can create, they slow down, they focus, they refine, their actions become deliberate. Deliberate action compounds. The first principle of getting rich is not money. It is clarity of purpose. Without a clear intention, effort scatters. Time dissolves into motion without direction. People stay busy, yet stagnant. Clarity focuses energy. Focused energy produces power. Power applied consistently produces results. This clarity must be held without tension, not desperation, not anxiety, but quiet certainty. Certainty that wealth is possible, lawful, and accessible. Belief here is not blind optimism. It is alignment with cause and effect. A seed does not hope to grow. It grows because growth is its nature. In the same way, wealth grows when the correct conditions are met. The mistake most people make is attempting to change outcomes without changing conditions. They chase money without aligning thought. They act without direction. They consume without creation. Creation always precedes possession. Thought precedes creation, but not idle thought, not wishing, not dreaming detached from action. Thought that is clear, specific, and persistent. This persistence does not feel aggressive. It feels steady. Steadiness matters because wealth rarely arrives suddenly. It accumulates through aligned action over time. People often abandon their efforts not because they are wrong, but because they are early. The absence of immediate results is mistaken for failure. This misunderstanding dissolves when one understands law. Law does not respond emotionally. It responds consistently. If the correct causes are maintained, results are inevitable. This removes urgency. Urgency creates mistakes. Calm confidence sustains action. The creative mindset does not rush because it does not fear scarcity. It assumes there is room for everyone to prosper. This assumption changes behavior. When people believe opportunity is limited, they hoard information, undercut others, and act defensively. When they believe opportunity is expandable, they share, build, and improve value. Value creation is central. Money flows toward value. Value increases through usefulness, excellence, and contribution. Getting rich in this framework is not about extraction. 'Tis about expansion. Expansion of usefulness. Expansion of skill. Expansion of service. When service expands, compensation follows. This does not require perfection. It requires progression. Each day, action is taken in alignment with the intention to create more value than yesterday. This alignment, repeated, compounds. Compounding is slow at first, quiet, almost invisible, but it accelerates once momentum is established. Momentum depends on consistency. Consistency depends on belief. Belief here is not emotional excitement. 'Tis internal agreement with possibility. Doubt fractures effort. Faith aligns it. Faith does not mean ignoring reality. It means acting as though creation is possible, even when results are not yet visible. This is the discipline, to think in a certain way, to act in a certain way, and to persist regardless of appearances. This persistence must be peaceful. Tension introduces resistance. Resistance blocks flow. Flow is created when thought, action, and purpose align. When alignment exists, opportunities appear naturally. Not magically, but perceptually. The mind notices paths it previously ignored. This is why mindset matters. Not because thoughts summon money, but because thoughts shape perception, and perception shapes action. Action determines outcome. This is the science. There is no conflict between spirituality and practicality here. The process is grounded, repeatable, and observable. Those who apply it consistently, regardless of background, see results. Not overnight, but inevitably. Wealth, when pursued creatively rather than competitively, does not feel heavy. It feels integrated. Money becomes a tool rather than a pursuit, a support rather than a source of anxiety. This integration begins with understanding that getting rich is not about fighting others, but about cooperating with law. Law rewards those who work with it. And that cooperation begins now. With a decision to think differently, to act deliberately, and to remain steady while creation unfolds. To think in a certain way does not mean to repeat affirmations or force optimism. It means to adopt a posture toward life that remains steady regardless of conditions. Most people allow circumstances to determine their thinking. When conditions feel favorable, they feel confident. When conditions tighten, doubt returns. This reactive cycle prevents continuity. The creative mindset reverses this order. Thinking does not follow circumstance. Circumstance follows thinking expressed through action. This does not imply control over everything. It implies responsibility for alignment. Alignment is quiet. It does not demand attention. It feels natural once established. But reaching it requires discipline, not force. Discipline here is not harshness. It is consistency of intention, the intention to create value, the intention to improve usefulness, the intention to contribute more than before. When intention is clear, action simplifies. Decisions become easier. Doubt loses leverage. Most indecision arises not from lack of options, but from lack of clarity. When purpose is defined, options arrange themselves. This clarity does not eliminate uncertainty. It provides direction within it. Uncertainty is not an obstacle to wealth. It is a condition of it. Creation happens within uncertainty. If everything were known, nothing new would be built. Those who wait for certainty remain motionless. Those who move with clarity progress. Progress is rarely dramatic. It often feels repetitive. The same actions performed daily with slight refinement. This repetition tests patience. Patience is sustained when effort feels meaningful. Meaning emerges when action aligns with intention. Intention must be held without strain. Strain introduces resistance. Resistance slows creation. The creative mindset allows desire without tension. Wanting does not mean chasing. It means orienting behavior. Behavior aligned with desire moves steadily forward without panic. Panic arises from scarcity thinking. Scarcity compresses time. Everything feels urgent. Urgency creates mistakes. Abundance thinking expands time. Time feels available. Decisions slow. Quality improves. Abundance here does not mean excess. It means sufficiency of opportunity. Opportunity exists wherever value can be increased. Value increases through attention, care, and improvement. Improvement is always possible, no matter the starting point. This is why competition is unnecessary. Competition assumes fixed outcomes. Creation assumes expandable outcomes. When outcomes are expandable, collaboration replaces rivalry. Learning replaces imitation. Growth replaces fear. Fear narrows thinking. Narrow thinking limits action. Limited action produces limited results. Creative thinking widens perspective. It reveals possibilities beyond immediate comparison. Comparison distracts. It pulls attention outward. Creation requires inward focus. Focus does not isolate. It aligns. Aligned focus allows energy to accumulate. Accumulated energy expresses itself through effective action. Effective action feels efficient. It does not waste motion. It produces visible improvement over time. Time is essential here. Wealth built creatively respects time. It does not attempt to bypass it. Attempts to bypass time introduce instability. Fast gains lack foundation. Without foundation, collapse follows. Foundation is built through consistency. Consistency requires belief in process. Process belief must exist even when results are delayed. Delay is not denial, it is preparation. Preparation often occurs invisibly. Skills refine, perception sharpens, confidence stabilizes. Stabilized confidence allows greater responsibility. Responsibility expands capacity. Capacity expansion allows larger value creation. Value creation attracts compensation. Compensation is not the goal, 'tis the consequence. Focusing directly on compensation distorts behavior. Behavior becomes transactional rather than creative. Creative behavior prioritizes usefulness over reward. Reward follows usefulness naturally. This shift removes pressure. Pressure narrows creativity. Relaxed focus expands it. Relaxation here does not mean inactivity. It means absence of anxiety. Anxiety disrupts rhythm. Rhythm supports flow. Flow occurs when effort meets receptivity. When action is neither forced nor withheld. Receptivity increases when attention is calm. Calm attention notices subtle opportunities. Opportunities are rarely obvious. They appear as small openings. Those in a hurry overlook them. Hurry blinds perception. Stillness sharpens it. Stillness does not mean stopping. It means acting without internal noise. Noise comes from conflicting desires. Conflicts dissolve when intention is singular. Singular intention does not mean obsession. It means clarity. Clarity removes the need for constant reassessment. Reassessment interrupts momentum. Momentum builds gradually. Once established, it carries effort forward. Breaking momentum resets progress. Consistency protects it. Protection requires restraint. Restraint prevents unnecessary deviation. Deviation often arises from external influence. Opinions, trends, and comparisons pull focus away from creation. The creative mindset filters external input. It absorbs what aligns and releases what distracts. This filtering preserves direction. Direction matters more than speed. Speed without direction creates exhaustion. Direction without speed creates patience. Patience is rewarded through accumulation. Accumulation occurs quietly. Its early stages feel unrewarding. Later stages feel effortless. Those who persist through the early quiet phase benefit from the later acceleration. Acceleration here is not frantic. It is natural growth meeting readiness. Readiness is built through alignment. Alignment between thought and action removes friction. Friction slows progress. Reducing friction increases output without increasing effort. This efficiency compounds. Compounding efficiency is powerful. It transforms modest beginnings into substantial outcomes. This transformation often surprises observers. They see result without seeing preparation. Preparation happened in silence. Silence is where creative work matures. Recognition may come later or not at all. Recognition is not required for success. Success is measured by integration. When wealth supports life without dominating it. Integration allows peace. Peace allows enjoyment. Enjoyment does not reduce ambition. It sustains it. Sustained ambition respects process. process is lawful. It does not favor background, status, or advantage. It responds to alignment. Alignment can be practiced by anyone, at any moment, beginning now. By choosing to think creatively rather than competitively. By acting deliberately rather than reactively. And by remaining steady while creation unfolds. Action is the bridge between thought and result. Without action, thinking remains potential. Without thought, action becomes scattered. Wealth emerges when the two move together in alignment. Many people misunderstand action. They believe it must be dramatic, exhausting, or risky. In reality, effective action is often ordinary. It appears as daily effort applied with care and direction. What gives it power is not intensity, but consistency. Consistency transforms small actions into meaningful outcomes. Each step builds upon the last. Momentum grows not from speed, but from continuity. The creative mindset does not wait for perfect conditions to act. It recognizes that conditions are always incomplete. Waiting for certainty delays progress indefinitely. Instead, action is taken from where one stands, using what is available, improving what can be improved. This approach removes paralysis. Progress begins immediately. Immediate progress does not mean immediate reward. Rewards follow alignment, not urgency. Impatience introduces distortion. Distortion leads to error. Effective action is never rushed. It is purposeful. Purpose gives direction to effort. Direction prevents waste. Waste occurs when action lacks clarity. People exhaust themselves moving without aim. Clarity conserves energy. Energy conserved compounds into capacity. Capacity allows greater contribution. Contribution expands value. Value attracts compensation. Compensation arrives through many channels, often unexpectedly. The creative mindset remains open to these channels without clinging to any single one. Clinging restricts flow. Flow requires flexibility. Flexibility does not mean inconsistency. It means responsiveness within a stable framework. Frameworks matter. Without them, action becomes reactive. With them, action becomes strategic. A clear framework answers simple questions. What am I creating? Who does it serve? How does it add value? These questions guide daily effort. They prevent distraction. Distraction pulls action away from creation. Creation requires focus. Focus does not isolate. It integrates. It brings attention fully into the present task. Present-focused action is efficient. It avoids regret about the past and anxiety about the future. Anxiety fragments effort. Fragmentation weakens results. The creative mindset avoids fragmentation by committing fully to each step. Each step, done well, prepares the next. Preparation is often invisible. Skills sharpen. Understanding deepens. Confidence stabilizes. Stabilized confidence supports initiative. Initiative moves opportunity forward. Opportunity rarely arrives fully formed. It emerges gradually through interaction with the environment. Those who act creatively notice opportunity earlier. Their perception is tuned to possibility rather than threat. Threat-focused perception limits action. Possibility-focused perception expands it. Expansion does not require risk-seeking. It requires value-seeking. Value-seeking aligns action with usefulness. Usefulness anchors creation in reality. Reality matters. Wealth is not imagined into existence. It is built through tangible improvement. Improvement may be small. Small improvements repeated compound significantly. Compounding improvement is one of the most powerful forces available. It does not require exceptional talent. It requires patience. Patience is sustained when action feels meaningful. Meaning arises from contribution. Contribution connects effort to others. This connection removes isolation. Isolation often breeds fear. Fear distorts thinking. Distorted thinking disrupts action. Connection restores perspective. Perspective calms the mind. A calm mind acts deliberately. Deliberate action reduces mistakes. Reduced mistakes preserve momentum. Momentum creates confidence. Confidence supports further action. The cycle strengthens itself. This cycle does not depend on external validation. Validation may arrive later, but it is not required. Seeking validation to early shifts focus away from creation. Creation thrives in relative privacy. Privacy allows experimentation. Experimentation refines process. Refinement improves results. Results provide feedback. Feedback guides adjustment. Adjustment keeps action aligned with purpose. Alignment maintains flow. Flow does not feel rushed. It feels absorbed. Absorption is the state where effort feels natural. Time passes without strain. Strain indicates misalignment. Misalignment requires correction. Correction does not require force. It requires awareness. Awareness arises when attention is calm. Calm attention notices subtle signals. Signals guide action gently. Gentle guidance is more effective than forceful push. Force exhausts. Guidance sustains. Sustained effort accumulates. Accumulation does not need constant measurement. Measurement invites comparison. Comparison distracts. Creative action measures progress internally. Improvement over yesterday. This internal measurement is stable. It does not fluctuate with external noise. Noise is abundant. Opinions, trends, and predictions flood attention. The creative mindset filters noise. It listens selectively. Selective listening preserves direction. Direction protects momentum. Momentum compounds action into outcome. Outcome emerges gradually. It rarely arrives as a sudden event. Gradual emergence is often overlooked. People abandon effort prematurely because they expect dramatic signals. Understanding law removes this expectation. Law operates quietly. Quiet operation is consistent. Consistency outperforms brilliance. Brilliance without consistency fades. Consistency without brilliance endures. Endurance matters. Wealth built to last requires durability. Durability comes from simple, repeatable actions aligned with purpose. Complex actions break under pressure. simple actions adapt. Adaptation does not require reinvention. It requires adjustment. Adjustment preserves continuity. Continuity allows compounding. Compounding magnifies aligned action over time. Time is not an obstacle. It is a collaborator. Those who work with time benefit from its power. Those who rush against it exhaust themselves. The creative mindset respects time. Respect for time removes urgency. Without urgency, action becomes precise. Precision improves quality. Quality increases value. Value attracts wealth. Wealth, when created this way, integrates naturally into life. It does not demand sacrifice of peace. It supports it. This support grows as alignment deepens. Alignment deepens through practice. Practice does not need perfection. It needs persistence. Persistence carries action forward when motivation fades. Motivation fluctuates. Alignment remains. Remaining aligned is enough. The rest unfolds quietly. Creation requires more than intention and action. It requires harmony between what is desired and what is done. Disharmony appears when people act from fear, impatience, or comparison. Harmony appears when action flows from purpose. Many efforts fail, not because they lack effort, but because they carry contradiction. People want wealth, yet act as though opportunity is scarce. They seek abundance, yet think defensively. This contradiction disrupts flow. The creative mindset resolves contradiction by aligning inner posture with outward behavior. When thought supports action, energy moves freely. Free movement of energy does not feel forceful. It feels natural, like water finding its path. Resistance appears only when direction is blocked. Blocking often comes from attachment to outcomes. When results are demanded on a timetable, pressure enters. Pressure tightens attention. Tight attention misses opportunity. Opportunity often appears indirectly. It arrives through people, ideas, or circumstances that do not look important at first. Those who are relaxed enough to notice subtle openings benefit most. Subtlety requires patience. Patience grows when urgency dissolves. Urgency dissolves when trust in process deepens. Trust does not mean passivity. It means continuing action without emotional interference. Emotional interference disrupts rhythm. Rhythm supports momentum. Momentum sustains progress. Progress sustained this way feels light, not effortless, but unburdened. Burden arises when effort is mixed with fear of loss. Fear of loss narrows creativity. Creativity expands when loss is not central. The creative mindset is not reckless. It is grounded. It acknowledges risk without being ruled by it. Risk exists in all action. Avoiding risk entirely guarantees stagnation. The goal is not to eliminate risk, but to align it with purpose. Aligned risk feels measured. It is taken thoughtfully, without desperation. Desperation distorts judgment. Judgment impaired by desperation seeks shortcuts. Shortcuts undermine foundation. Without foundation, growth collapses. Foundation is built through steady contribution. Contribution creates value. Value attracts reward. Reward may not arrive where expected. Flexibility allows reception through unexpected channels. Rigid expectation blocks reception. The mind becomes fixed on a single outcome. Other possibilities go unnoticed. Openness expands perception. Expanded perception reveals paths previously unseen. Paths do not need to be forced open. They emerge through interaction with environment. Interaction refines understanding. Understanding informs better action. Better action improves results. This improvement cycle depends on feedback. Feedback is information, not judgment. Judgment introduces emotion. Emotion clouds perception. Clear perception requires neutrality. Neutrality does not mean indifference. It means openness without attachment. Attachment creates tension. Tension resists flow. Flow thrives in ease. Ease supports continuity. Continuity allows mastery. Mastery develops through repetition. Repetition may feel monotonous. Monotony is often mistaken for stagnation. In reality, repetition is refinement. Each cycle deepens skill. Skill increases confidence. Confidence stabilizes behavior. Stabilized behavior compounds. Compounding progress often appears invisible while it is happening. Visibility comes later. Those who expect constant confirmation abandon effort too soon. Understanding law removes the need for constant confirmation. Law operates whether observed or not. Operating in accordance with law creates reliability. Reliability builds trust in oneself. Self-trust reduces hesitation. Hesitation delays action. Delayed action reduces opportunity. Opportunity favors those already moving. Movement does not require certainty. It requires direction. Direction is maintained through intention. Intention must remain clear but relaxed. Forced intention becomes obsession. Obsession narrows thinking. Relaxed clarity expands thinking. Expanded thinking improves problem solving. Problems become puzzles rather than threats. Threat perception triggers defense. Defense limits creativity. Creative response requires calm. Calm is cultivated through simplicity. Simplicity removes unnecessary strain. Strain often arises from doing too many things at once. Scattered effort weakens impact. Focused effort strengthens it. Focus does not require isolation. It requires prioritization. Prioritization aligns action with purpose. Purpose provides meaning. Meaning sustains effort. Effort sustained through meaning endures longer than effort driven by fear. Fear-based effort burns quickly. Endurance matters more than intensity. Intensity attracts attention. Endurance produces results. Results built through endurance integrate smoothly into life. Integration is important. Wealth that disrupts life creates new problems. Wealth created harmoniously supports balance. Balance improves judgment. Judgment preserves alignment. Alignment keeps creation flowing. Flow allows expansion without strain. Expansion does not require constant growth. Requires continual improvement. Improvement may be incremental. Incremental progress compounds. Compounding is patient. It does not respond to urgency. Urgency disrupts compounding. Those who understand this relax into the process. Relaxation improves perception. Improved perception notices leverage points. Leverage multiplies effort. Effort multiplied through leverage produces significant change. Leverage appears through knowledge, relationships, and systems. These are cultivated through consistent action over time. Time is an ally when not resisted. Resistance to time creates frustration. Frustration erodes clarity. Clarity is restored through acceptance. Acceptance does not mean surrender. It means working with reality as it is. Working with reality produces sustainable outcomes. Sustainability matters because creation is ongoing. There is no final state, only continuation. Continuation without strain is the aim. Strain-free continuation feels like flow. Flow supports enjoyment. Enjoyment sustains engagement. Engagement keeps action alive. Alive action evolves. Evolution adapts to circumstance. Adaptation preserves relevance. Relevance maintains value. Value attracts wealth. Wealth created this way feels deserved, natural, and stable. It does not arrive suddenly. It grows steadily. Steady growth is reliable. Reliability builds confidence. Confidence relaxes action. Relaxed action flows. Flow continues, quietly. Gratitude is not commonly discussed as a practical force in wealth creation, yet it quietly shapes the quality of action. When gratitude is present, effort feels grounded. When it is absent, effort becomes strained. Strain introduces resistance. Resistance slows progress. Gratitude does not require satisfaction with limitation. It requires recognition of what already exists and what is already working. This recognition stabilizes the mind. A stable mind acts clearly. Clear action builds upon what is present rather than fixating on what is missing. Fixation on absence narrows perception. Gratitude widens it. A widened perception notices opportunity embedded in ordinary circumstances. Many opportunities are overlooked because they do not appear dramatic. They appear simple, familiar, accessible. The creative mindset values these openings. It does not wait for rare chances. It refines common ones. Refinement increases usefulness. Usefulness increases value. Value is not abstract. It is experienced by others through quality, reliability, and care. These traits are cultivated through attention. Attention given calmly improves results. Attention given anxiously distorts them. Anxiety rushes. Rushing sacrifices quality. Quality is the silent differentiator. Those who build wealth sustainably do not cut corners. They deepen them. They invest in excellence where others settle for adequacy. Excellence does not require perfection. It requires intention and consistency. Consistency creates trust. Trust multiplies opportunity. Opportunities expand when people know what to expect. Predictability is underrated. It allows collaboration to form naturally. Collaboration amplifies creation. It multiplies effort without increasing strain. Strain limits endurance. Endurance is essential for long-term success. The creative process is cumulative. Each contribution builds upon the last. This accumulation is often invisible early on. Early invisibility tests belief. Belief must be rooted in understanding, not appearance. Appearance fluctuates. Understanding remains. Understanding that wealth follows law allows calm persistence. Persistence carried calmly compounds. Compounding is subtle. It does not demand attention. It rewards patience. Patience is sustained by meaning. Meaning emerges when action aligns with contribution. Contribution connects effort to others. This connection removes isolation. Isolation breeds comparison. Comparison erodes satisfaction. Gratitude dissolves comparison. Gratitude restores sufficiency. Sufficiency stabilizes desire. Stabilized desire focuses action. Focused action improves execution. Improved execution produces better results. Results reinforce belief. Belief sustains persistence. The cycle strengthens itself. Gratitude also prevents entitlement. Entitlement distorts expectation. Distorted expectation leads to disappointment. Disappointment interrupts effort. Effort interrupted too often never compounds. Those who expect immediate return lose momentum. Those who respect process maintain it. Respect for process expresses itself through care. Care elevates output. Elevated output stands out naturally. It does not need promotion. Recognition follows quality. Recognition may be slow. Slow recognition is often more durable. Durable success integrates smoothly into life. It does not destabilize identity. Identity anchored in creation rather than outcome is resilient. Resilient identity adapts without panic. Panic signals disconnection from process. Reconnection restores calm. Calm allows reflection. Reflection improves judgment. Judgment refines action. Refined action improves value. Value attracts opportunity. Opportunity expands reach. Expanded reach increases responsibility. Responsibility handled with gratitude strengthens trust. Trust deepens collaboration. Collaboration accelerates growth. Growth managed calmly remains sustainable. Sustainability matters more than speed. Speed often sacrifices foundation. Foundation supports longevity. Longevity allows compounding to mature. Mature compounding appears effortless. Effortless appearance is misleading. It hides years of aligned action. Aligned action feels natural in retrospect. Retrospect compresses time. It hides patience. Understanding restores respect for patience. Patience is not passive. It is active steadiness. Steadiness stabilizes behavior. Stabilized behavior compounds. Compounding unfolds regardless of attention. Attention is better placed on quality than on outcome. Outcome follows quality reliably. Reliability builds confidence. Confidence relaxes effort. Relaxed effort flows. Flow supports creativity. Creativity increases value. Value attracts wealth. Wealth created through gratitude and contribution feels integrated. It does not disrupt peace. It supports it. Support of wealth enhances life rather than replacing it. This enhancement is subtle. It appears as ease. Ease signals alignment. Alignment sustains creation. Creation continues quietly. Gratitude keeps the process open. Open processes evolve. Evolution maintains relevance. Relevance preserves value. Value sustains wealth. Wealth remains when it is welcomed without tension. Tension dissolves in gratitude. And the work continues, calmly. Faith in the creative process is not belief without evidence. It is commitment without interruption. It is the decision to continue acting in alignment even when outcomes are delayed or unclear. Most people think faith is emotional. In practice, faith is behavioral. It is revealed through what one does consistently, not through what one feels occasionally. When action remains steady, faith is present. When action stops at the first sign of uncertainty, faith has not yet formed. This is not a judgment. It is a condition that can be changed through practice. Practice strengthens trust. Trust stabilizes behavior. Stabilized behavior compounds. Compounding does not require emotional reinforcement. It requires continuity. Continuity is difficult when doubt enters. Doubt does not appear suddenly. It arrives gradually through comparison, impatience, or fixation on results. These habits pull attention away from creation and toward measurement. Measurement is not harmful. Obsession with measurement is. When progress is constantly evaluated, momentum is interrupted. The mind shifts from building to judging. Judging slows action. The creative mindset understands that evaluation has its place, but not at every moment. Action must be allowed to run long enough to reveal its effect. This requires restraint. Restraint is often mistaken for inaction. In reality, restraint protects action already taken. Protection is necessary because premature adjustment weakens systems. Systems need time to mature. Maturation occurs quietly. It cannot be rushed. Attempts to accelerate it often damage structure. Structure supports scale. Without structure, growth becomes chaotic. Chaos drains energy. Energy lost cannot compound. The discipline, then, is to act and then allow action to unfold without interference. This allowance feels uncomfortable to those accustomed to control. Control promises certainty. Allowance accepts uncertainty. Uncertainty does not prevent success. It accompanies it. Those who succeed consistently are not those who eliminate uncertainty, but those who tolerate it without panic. Tolerance builds capacity. Capacity allows expansion. Expansion does not mean doing more things, means doing the right things more effectively. Effectiveness improves through refinement. Refinement requires observation without judgment. Judgment introduces emotion. Emotion distorts observation. Clear observation requires neutrality. Neutrality does not mean indifference. It means openness without attachment. Attachment binds effort to outcome. When outcome is delayed, attachment produces frustration. Frustration often leads to abandonment. Abandonment resets progress. Progress reset repeatedly never compounds. Those who remain aligned through frustration experience breakthrough later. This breakthrough is not dramatic. It is cumulative. Cumulative change often appears sudden only because it was unnoticed while developing. Development happens beneath awareness. Skills deepen. Confidence steadies. Relationships strengthen. These developments are not visible on balance sheets, yet they determine future outcomes. Wealth creation depends on invisible preparation. Preparation requires humility. Humility allows learning. Learning improves execution. Execution improves value. Value attracts opportunity. Opportunity is rarely evenly distributed. It flows toward those already prepared. Preparation creates readiness. Readiness allows opportunity to be recognized and acted upon. Recognition depends on perception. Perception is shaped by mindset. A creative mindset notices growth possibilities where others see limitation. Limitation-focused thinking constrains action. Possibility-focused thinking expands it. Expansion does not require ignoring risk. It requires contextualizing it. Risk is part of creation. Avoiding risk entirely avoids growth. Growth managed wisely respects capacity. Overextension introduces fragility. Fragility breaks under pressure. Durable systems bend without breaking. Durability is built through simplicity. Simplicity reduces points of failure. Fewer points of failure increase resilience. Resilience allows continuation during stress. Stress tests alignment. Alignment maintained through stress deepens faith. Faith strengthened through experience becomes quiet confidence. Quiet confidence does not seek validation. It does not react to comparison. Comparison disrupts rhythm. Rhythm supports flow. Flow sustains engagement. Engagement sustains effort. Effort sustained without strain compounds. Strain signals misalignment. Misalignment requires correction. Correction guided by clarity is gentle. Correction driven by panic is destructive. Gentle correction preserves momentum. Momentum is precious. It must be protected. Protection requires patience. Patience is easier when faith exists. Faith rests on understanding law rather than predicting outcomes. Law does not respond to emotion. It responds to alignment. Alignment maintained produces results inevitably. Inevitability removes urgency. Without urgency, action improves. Improved action increases quality. Quality attracts reward. Reward integrated calmly does not disrupt balance. Balance maintains clarity. Clarity supports judgment. Judgment refines action. Refined action deepens contribution. Contribution strengthens connection. Connection expands influence. Influence increases responsibility. Responsibility handled calmly preserves trust. Trust multiplies opportunity. Opportunity extends reach. Extended reach demands structure. Structure grounded in simplicity scales. Scale achieved without strain is sustainable. Sustainability allows long-term success. Long-term success feels stable rather than dramatic. Stability supports peace. Peace allows enjoyment. Enjoyment sustains motivation. Motivation anchored in meaning endures. Meaning arises from contribution. Contribution is the heart of creation. Creation guided by faith, restraint, and alignment unfolds naturally. Nothing here requires force. Nothing requires haste. Everything requires consistency. Consistency, once established, carries itself forward. This is the quiet power of faith in action. Not belief without effort, but effort without interruption. Creation reaches its fullest expression when effort no longer feels separate from life itself. At this stage, action does not feel like work, and rest does not feel like escape. Both exist within the same rhythm. This rhythm is not forced. It emerges naturally when thought, intention, and behavior have aligned for long enough to become familiar. Familiarity is powerful. It removes friction. When behavior no longer needs to be negotiated internally, energy flows freely. Decisions are made without hesitation. Action follows without resistance. Resistance often appears when people attempt to live in two directions at once, wanting progress while fearing change, seeking wealth while resenting effort. These internal conflicts drain momentum. The creative mindset resolves conflict by choosing coherence, one direction, one purpose, one standard of action. This does not require narrowing life. It simplifies it. Simplicity is often mistaken for limitation. In reality, it is clarity. Clarity reveals where effort is effective and where it is wasted. Wasted effort exhausts. Effective effort compounds. Compounding effort reshapes identity. A person begins to see themselves as someone who creates rather than reacts. This shift is subtle but permanent. Reactive identity responds to circumstances. Creative identity shapes them. Shaping does not mean controlling outcomes. It means influencing direction through consistent behavior. Influence grows slowly. It is built through reliability. Reliability earns trust. Trust expands opportunity. People, systems, and circumstances respond to trust by opening pathways. These pathways often appear ordinary. They are rarely dramatic. Those seeking spectacle overlook them. Quiet opportunities reward those who are present enough to notice. Presence requires attention without anxiety. Anxiety scatters attention, calm gathers it. Gathered attention deepens effectiveness. Effectiveness strengthens confidence. Confidence stabilizes behavior. Stabilized behavior compounds. This cycle reinforces itself without effort once established. At this stage, wealth creation no longer feels like a pursuit. It feels like participation. Participation in a larger flow of value, exchange, and contribution. Contribution becomes the measure of success rather than accumulation. Accumulation follows naturally. Natural accumulation does not distort priorities. It integrates with life. Integration prevents imbalance. Imbalance creates new problems that wealth alone cannot solve. Many people reach financial success only to discover emotional instability. This occurs when wealth is built in opposition to values. The creative path avoids this conflict by aligning creation with contribution from the beginning. Alignment ensures that growth feels deserved, steady, and sustainable. Sustainability is essential. Short-term success that damages long-term capacity is failure delayed. Delayed failure is dangerous because it arrives after commitment has deepened. Simple systems prevent this by revealing strain early. Strain signals misalignment. Responding to strain gently preserves health. Ignoring it invites collapse. The creative mindset listens to feedback without panic. Feedback is information, not accusation. Information guides refinement. Refinement improves structure. Structure supports expansion. Expansion handled calmly remains stable. Stability allows enjoyment. Enjoyment is not indulgence. It is confirmation that effort aligns with life. Alignment reduces internal resistance. Reduced resistance increases flow. Flow supports creativity. Creativity sustains interest. Interest keeps engagement alive over long periods. Long periods matter because meaningful creation unfolds over time. Time is not a hurdle. It is the medium through which results mature. Those who work against time exhaust themselves. Those who work with time gain leverage. Leverage appears when systems begin to operate without constant input. Systems built creatively reach this stage naturally. At that point, effort shifts from maintenance to refinement. Refinement is subtle. Small adjustments, incremental improvements. These improvements compound disproportionately. Disproportionate results often surprise observers. They appear sudden. They are not. They are the visible expression of long-term alignment. Alignment cannot be faked. It is revealed through consistency. Consistency builds reputation. Reputation attracts opportunity. Opportunity expands influence. Influence carries responsibility. Responsibility accepted calmly strengthens trust. Trust deepens relationships. Relationships amplify creation. Amplified creation increases impact. Impact measured through contribution feels meaningful. Meaning sustains engagement. Engagement sustains effort. Effort aligned with meaning does not feel heavy. Heaviness signals misalignment. Misalignment can always be corrected. Correction does not require abandonment. It requires adjustment. Adjustment guided by clarity preserves continuity. Continuity allows compounding. Compounding stabilizes outcomes. Stable outcomes reduce anxiety. Reduced anxiety improves perception. Improved perception reveals further opportunity. Opportunity continues to appear. The process does not end. There is no final arrival. There is only continued creation. Creation does not demand urgency. It unfolds at its own pace. Pace respects capacity. Capacity grows gradually. Growth integrated calmly feels natural. Natural growth does not disrupt life. It supports it. Supportive wealth does not announce itself. It is felt through ease. Ease in decision-making. ease in uncertainty, ease in letting time pass. This ease is not complacency. It is confidence without noise. Noise fades when alignment is complete. Silence remains. In silence, creation continues. Quietly. There is nothing left to pursue. When creation becomes part of one's natural rhythm, effort no longer feels separate from living. The work is no longer something that must be summoned or forced. It arises quietly, guided by clarity rather than pressure. At this point, wealth is no longer imagined as a destination. It is experienced as a condition, one that supports life rather than dominates it. Money moves in and out without demanding constant attention. Decisions feel lighter. Time feels less compressed. This lightness is not accidental. It is the result of alignment held over time. Thought aligned with intention. Intention aligned with action. Action repeated without interruption. What once required discipline now feels familiar. What once demanded focus now unfolds naturally. This is how you know the process has integrated. Integration does not feel dramatic. It feels ordinary. Ordinary days lived without financial tension accumulate into stability. Stability becomes confidence. Confidence becomes ease. Ease does not eliminate challenge. It changes how challenge is met. There is no rush to solve everything at once. No urgency to control outcomes. Response replaces reaction. Reaction is loud. Response is quiet. Quiet response allows space between stimulus and action. In that space, clarity appears. Clarity guides behavior gently. Gentle guidance is more sustainable than force. Force exhausts. Guidance endures. Endurance matters because creation is not a single event. It is an ongoing relationship with value, contribution, and time. Time continues regardless of attention. Working with it rather than against it removes friction. Progress flows without resistance. Resistance once came from fear. Fear of lack. Fear of delay. Fear of being left behind. Those fears dissolve when understanding deepens. When it becomes clear that wealth is lawful, cumulative, and responsive to alignment rather than urgency. Nothing here requires constant belief. It requires continued action. Action taken calmly. Action taken deliberately. Action taken without interruption. This is faith expressed as behavior. Behavior shapes identity. Identity shapes outcomes. Outcomes stabilize when identity is no longer reactive. Reactive identity responds to conditions. Creative identity establishes them. Establishing does not mean controlling. It means participating consistently in creation. Participation feels different from pursuit. It is cooperative rather than competitive. It allows others to succeed without threat. Threat perception fades when abundance is understood as expandable. Expandable opportunity removes rivalry. It invites collaboration. Collaboration multiplies effort. Effort multiplied through harmony produces impact. Impact does not announce itself. It reveals itself over time through trust, reputation, and contribution. Contribution becomes the quiet measure of success. It's not accumulation alone, but usefulness. Usefulness anchors wealth in reality. It ensures durability. Durable wealth integrates smoothly into life. It does not distort values. It supports them. Values guide action without effort when alignment is complete. Alignment does not require perfection. It requires sincerity and continuity. Continuity carries the process forward, even when attention drifts. Drifting is natural. The system holds. This is why nothing further is required. The work continues beneath awareness. There is no need to remember every idea. What matters has already settled. The listening can fade without resolution. Silence does not interrupt the process, it completes it. In silence, integration occurs. Integration does not ask for recognition. It simply remains. And as time passes, quietly, creation continues.